Hello again, it's so nice to be back with you today, and I really hope you are doing great wherever you are. So today I have decided to do something different, as I have an oval shape cut in here, and how we make this shape is just by taking a contact paper, and you can find one in your local bookstore or something. So what I've done is that I have taken an oval canvas and just made a basic shape with a pencil on the contact paper, and then just cut it off with the scissors, stick it on the regular canvas, and we are ready to paint. I have covered the entire surface with a thin even coat of liquid white, so we are ready to start. And what I want to do today is just a crazy painting with a very limited palette here. As you can see, I have just some basic colors, and what I want to do is a nice winter scene, okay? So let's start with a twins brush and a small amount of alizarin crimson here, and I'm gonna take some phthalo blue to that. I want to have a nice purple hue in the sky today. Just test your color. And I'm gonna come up here, and I'm gonna use just the corner of the brush and make some basic shapes here and there. Just let the brush play around the sky here today. It's like making basic cloud shapes here, but what we want is to have lots of different crazy shapes around here, and I'm just using the corner of the brush for that. Don't be afraid of having a mess up here, because we will come back and blend all these. By the time we have the liquid white here, we have nothing to worry about. And as you can see, I'm just making some basic shapes, and there are lots of variations of color around here. I mean, there are blues, there are reds, and of course purple. Okay, and now what I want to have here is a little bit of water, so I'm going to take the same color here. This is just alizarin crimson and phthalo blue. Just tap in some paint. And I want to have probably a river or something in this painting, so let's come down here and rub this in. Just a basic shape of water here, still water. And what I love is that just by making these straight strokes here, you have some nice water effects, and this is just so nice and easily made. And only in a couple of minutes we have a very nice background. Okay, and now I'm gonna take a clean and dry twins brush, and I will blend the sky now, just using my crisscross strokes now. And as you can see, we're removing the harsh outlines of these cloudy shapes, and we're bringing it all together. And there are still different values of color on canvas, and very gently go across. So it seems that there is something like snowing or rain coming here, because there are some indications of dark clouds or something. Okay, and you can soften the water a little bit if you want. Just keep blending it with your liquid white that's on the canvas. But it's very important to have a very small amount of liquid white. You don't need much, otherwise you're gonna have blobs and mud mixing, and then we don't want that. So let's take now, I'm gonna use the round brush today, and I'm gonna take some of the same color. We're mainly gonna use purple today, and I'm gonna take some white. I want to play with different values of white, of purple, I'm sorry, today, so we need to make variations here. Start from the light color, and as we progress forward, we're gonna move with darker colors. So just tap in some paint here, and what I want to do is to have a basic shape of some tree. So what I'm gonna do is just tap downwards. I'm gonna have some nice tree shapes here, and try not to make them all the same height, just do variations here and there. Some trees are taller, some are shorter, so it's up to you. Okay, now I wanted to mist all this, so I'm gonna take the other brush that I have and I'm just gonna use the top corner and lots of pressure in the mist here. And the harder you tap, the mist really becomes so easy and so effective. And it doesn't matter if you have some top marks down here because we're gonna paint another layer, so we're gonna cover all this. When painting with this technique, you really don't have to worry about much because everything works on its own. There's nothing you can't fix in here, that's what I love. Okay, we lift upwards, removing the top marks, and just blend very gently. And as you can see, we have a very nice ridge of trees back here, nice background. Now I'm gonna use the same brush and just darken the color a little bit. This is just alizarin greens and phthalo blue and a little bit of white here, so let's darken it up a little bit, but only a little bit. So I'm gonna use a little bit of white too, just moving forward. Now I want to have a little bit more detail, so I'm just tapping here and I'm only tapping the top corner of the brush. Hope you can see it. Let's make some basic tree shapes here. I'm starting from the bottom and working upwards here. Just make some trees and bushes, whatever you like. And I'm trying to save this misty area back here, so there's a separation or something. And if we want to have a reflection here, it's always wiser to have more paint on the edges rather in the center, I'm sorry. So when you paint the reflection, you have a very nice natural round feeling here. So just paint your trees back here, try to save the misty area and let things happen. Just adding a little bit more paint here. Just tap in firmly and nicely. Think of the tree shapes. Add more color. And here we are. Just some basic tree shapes. And we don't want a lot of gaps in between the trees because there are lots of leaves back there, so you're not gonna see through a lot of things. In here I'm preparing for a reflection, and I'm gonna take my 2-inch brush, decide where I want my reflection to be, and just pull downwards. And it's so important to pull straight down because otherwise it won't look right, okay? So even if you want to have a curve somewhere, just pull straight down. And now very gently, just go across. Now we have a nice water effect back here. Now let's take a liner brush and I'm gonna go into some paint thinner. And I'm gonna use the same identical color that I have here, just thin down. Add more paint thinner if your paint isn't thin enough. And what I'm doing here is just moving my liner brush in the paint and twisting it a little bit so it becomes a very nice sharp point. And this is how we paint the trunks and all this. So let's come here and I just need to darken it a little bit. I'm gonna take a little amount of Van Dyke brown here so you can see it better. And as you can see, it's just much better now. Just add some basic tree trunks back here. Yet we don't want not that many details. Although I believe today we are relatively close to what we were doing. There is not that much depth compared to other paintings we have done. But I still want to keep things simple here. Just make some basic tree shapes. Trunks and limbs and all this, something to hold the foliage together. I've only added a little bit of Van Dyke brown, more paint thinner if your paint won't flow. Just using the tip of the liner brush to paint all these. Okay. Now let's put a little bit of highlight here. I'm gonna remove the thin paint. And let's use the other round brush. I have two so I can save paint and time. It's very important to have two of each brush. So let's go into some white. I'm gonna take some white and I'm gonna go into a small amount of liquid white this time. And I'm only using the liquid white so the paint will stick easier. Because you have to remember that the thin paint will stick to a thick paint. So I'm gonna take the little amount of phthalo blue to that. There you go. And I'm just tapping the same way I did earlier. Just pick up some paint. And let's go up here and decide the shape of my trees here. And I'm tapping very, very gently here, just using the top bristles. And if you think that your paint isn't sticking well, just add some more liquid white. As you can see, I'm deciding with some basic tree shapes here. And it's always important to go just a little bit above the dark so it looks right. Just tapping here and there. It's very important to have a lot of paint and a gentle touch when you're painting foliage here. And by the time we have the reflection, we have to reverse the brush and add some basic reflected shapes and stuff in here. It's very important to have a nice mirror reflection here. It's gonna look very nice when it dries. And when we're painting reflections, we're just we're just turning the brush the other way. And that is we're having a reflection. Just adding some basic shapes here. Okay. Maybe there's another bush here. And it doesn't matter if you get a little bit of paint down here that is supposed to be with the regular bush, because you are gonna reflect that in the water and it will look just right. Another big bush here, its reflection. And just carry on with that, there is nothing to worry about. Instead of going where the right shapes and sizes are, just drop them in. And you have to make sure you're enjoying what you're doing here. Just some more reflections. Maybe there is another bush hidden back here. Remember to leave open spaces in between each bush because we don't want a flat painting here. Okay, now I'm gonna take my twins brush and very, very gently here, just touch and caress. Pull straight downwards. Be very, very gentle with that. Otherwise you're gonna mess up with your reflection. I'm just pulling straight down, and very, very gently, just caress the canvas. Be very gentle with that. And as you can see, we have some very nice reflections. Now I'm gonna take some straight titanium white here, and I'm pulling this very, very flat, and I'm gonna cut off a roll of paint on the edge of the knife. And I need something to hold all this. There is a little bit of snow here. And this is basically the same thing we're doing with soil, with our brown sometimes. And I really love doing that, as you have possibly imagined. So just love adding a little piece of flame to hold all this together. And remember that the shapes back here are smaller compared to the ones that are closer to us, so just make those ones a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm cleaning off my knife, and you can also scratch up some sticks and twigs back here. And as you can see already, we have some depth going on. There are the trees back here, the basic shapes, then we have the other trees we're just painting. And in order to bring this together, you can take your round brush with the light color and just tap in some shapes just here. This will bring everything together. Just go slightly above the snow we just painted. Just touch with the edge of the bristles. Here and there. And that is, we have a very nice riverbank or lake back here, whatever you like. Now I'm gonna move a little bit forward. Let's take the other brush, and I'm gonna go into the same colors, but I'm gonna darken it a little bit, so I'm gonna use Prussian blue this time. I love Prussian blue, it's a very nice, strong blue color here, so I'm not gonna use any white for that. So let's tap in some paint and let's have something to cover this area. I'm gonna use a lot of pressure for that. Just decide where you want things to be in your world. Just rub them in. A small bush here. Okay. Let's make this a little bit higher actually. Nice bushes in front of the painting. So let's paint a couple of big trees here. I'm gonna have to go with my Van Dyke brown this time. Now brown is a color that matches the purple very much, so let's take a little bit of dark sienna also. I'm going to use a lot of paint, and let's decide where we want some trees to be. And I'm just starting from the top and adding more pressure as I'm going downwards, so let's build another one. Maybe there is another one in here. Let's have a third one. Gonna have a third one. Gonna have a third one in here. Make it a little bit of different shape. Okay. Let's add some nice limbs. I'm gonna go into my liner brush again with a paint thinner and a little bit of Van Dyke brown dark sienna. Thin it down as necessary. Let's add some nice limbs here. I want to have some naked trees here out in the cold. Just play with your liner brush a little bit, add some detail. These trees are quite close to us. And you can go above the other colors without worrying, because we're using the wet and wet technique. That means we can add different layers of paint on top of the other without our colors turning to mud. But you just have to have the right paint, the right equipment for that. And I definitely need to buy a new liner brush, because at some point these bristles are just opening up and messing with my shape, but it doesn't matter. I have that for 2.5 years already, since I started painting, and it kept me good company, so take care of your brushes and they won't leave you. Clean them well, store them well. Let's add some limbs to the other tree too. Just move your hand a little bit. Don't do straight strokes with your liner brush. Okay. Now what's interesting to do here is add snow on top of these, because we have a snowy painting, so I need to highlight actually the limbs I have just painted. So I'm going to go into the same brush and I'm going to use some white here. This is actually the same white I'm having to paint. the foliage with, and as you can see my paint is running down here because it's very thin, otherwise it won't stick. Hope you can see it. And let's go on top. This is very difficult for me, so I'm just gonna go above the brown and try to follow the shape you just painted. I'm gonna use some liquid white because it sticks better. Just go above your branch and just follow the same shape. Paint just slightly above your dark color. That means there is snow on top of these branches. And also your branches are gonna be separated now from the dark color that's behind, so you need the dark to show up the light. Always remember to load your brush as necessary. There is some snow living up on this branch. Hope you can see it. Hope you can separate the aspects. And I just love winter scenes. I mean, I could paint snow and all these things all day long. But most people are not fond of these cold places. I'm living in a very hot country, and I actually love it when it snows. And I'm gonna go to the other tree too. Just let the snow settle on top of these limbs. And at some point the snow is gonna be that much that maybe some limbs are going to be cracked, who knows. Okay. Just add all kinds of details in your painting with your liner brush. But if you do not want to have this kind of trees, you can leave them out. Or if you can paint them with snowy foliage on, you can have leafy trees, whatever you want. It's so important to enjoy what you're doing here. And I'm gonna put some highlights on the tree trunks. Let me clean my palette first. And it's always important to keep things tidy. So as you have noticed, I'm always keeping my palette and my brushes tidy, so I'm saving time. It's very important. So I'm gonna take some white here that I already have. Let's remove it because I want this area clean. And I'm gonna take a little bit of dark sienna. Do not overmix that. And have a small roll of paint. So we're having a marbled area here with color that's actually moved here in the palette knife. So let's say that the light source is back here, as you can see from the foliage, because these trees here are highlighted on the right and these on the left, so the light source is in the center back here, okay? I'm gonna very gentle touch here and add the detail of the tree trunk. Just like that, just touch. And as you have noticed, this is my favorite type of highlighting trunks and trees and all these. Just touch. And leave small areas in between so it looks like good. Touch. And I'll take a little bit of the colors I used for the actual tree trunk with my fan brush, and I'm gonna bring this together. Play through your colors and make nice effects here and there. As you can see, everything comes together. And you can also return to your highlight color. Okay. Now let's paint some bushes underneath. Gonna take my liquid white again. I'm going to my titanium white, just topping the top bristles. Add the least little amount of phthalo blue. And the phthalo blue is here only to defer the white. Okay? And I'm coming back here. Do the ones in the background first, and then we'll paint the rest, the turn front of the trees, and everything will become one, so you don't have to worry about blood. Let's paint this big bush here. Paint one bush at a time. Maybe this is a baby tree or something, I don't know. I want to have a path or something. So let's take some white, some straight white. This is why I kept the area here clean. I want some pure snow here, so I'm taking some white. And the same way we do with the brown in the other paintings, just make some nice movements back here. There is a snow path here. And as you can see, this is mixing with the purple that's underneath, and all kinds of fantastic things happen. Very nice big path back here. Now, let's bring all this together. I'm gonna return to my round brush with the white and the blue on. This is something to make the path look more natural. Some weeds might be growing up here. They want to be protected from the cold or something, so just paint some basic shapes. Okay. And maybe some back here. So I'll tell you what, we're having the oval here, right? If you want, you can leave it the way it is with the oval. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna remove the tape. And I think we're having something very nice here. If you want, you can leave it like that, as I said, but I want to get a little bit greedy today, so let's have something out of the oval, and it will make it feel so different, something surrealistic maybe. So let's mix some paint. I'm gonna use some dark paint now. Clean my palette, and I'm gonna go with alizarin crimson, and there is some Prussian blue, maybe some ivory black. Let's mix this together, see what you get. I want some dark paint here, maybe some more paint, phthalo blue. Just take all your dark colors here that are turning into purple, so let's see what we have. Over mix your paint, and I'm going to use my fan brush. I have one dirty already, and as you have guessed, I want some evergreen trees, so load the brush on both sides with lots of paint here, lots of paint, and you can actually see how much paint we're having here. It's very, very important to bring the bristles together. Okay? So let's decide where we want our trees to be. And let's say that we want some to get out of the oval up here. And tell you that I want to remove some of this paint so my other paint sticks easier. So let's decide first that we want our trees to be here. So remove just a little bit of this loose paint that's underneath. As you can see, it's actually a roll of paint, so there is quite a lot of paint down here. Nothing wrong with doing that, because you can actually repaint it if you want, okay? So let's come up here and build big evergreens, okay? So I'm coming up here, making the center line, and let's come here. Just use the corner of the brush. Go back and forth, back and forth. Reload your brush. And I'm reloading my brush so I can have lots of dark here, and also it sticks easier above the loose paint that's underneath. And that quickly we have a big, nice evergreen tree. Let's have another one. Let's have another one back here. Make the center line using the corner of the brush now. And I'm just going back and forth, back and forth. And in here I'm just reloading my brush. And remember to leave some empty spaces in between so they look more natural. Let's have another one. You can have as many or as few as you want, so let's have a smaller one. Using just the corner. And as I said earlier, we decide where we want our trees to be, and removing the loose paint. Reload your brush and just go on ahead. That's easy. Now I want to have another one. I told you I'd get greedy, so let's come up here. I'm gonna make a big one. And now in here we have no liquid white, so maybe it will be a little bit difficult for the paint to stick, but let's give it a test. We're having no problem so far. And I'm using a lot of paint. We're gonna have a big tree. Big tree, big evergreen. Reload your brush. And do the same thing. Now, let's take the round brush and just take some paint, and I want to have something in front of these bushes. It's gonna add a lot of interest to your painting, so let's just drop in some basic shapes. Fill this in. And even though we do not have liquid white in here, we're just having a couple of layers of painting, so that's alright. We're gonna come here and just cover a little bit of that. Okay. Now let's do the trees back here first. I'm gonna cover a little bit of this area here, because I want more dark in here as I have lots of leaves and stuff, so okay. Now let's take some white and sienna and build the tree trunks. Just scratching the top, then touch, touch, and touch. Just make bigger rounded shapes with your hand when you're moving downwards, so the trunk will look more natural. Just do this. And you can see how nicely these colors match the painting. And you can do this painting in whatever time of the year you want. I just picked winter because I love the purples that we put in. I love snow, so it's completely up to you. I'm gonna take a clean fan brush here, and I'm gonna go into some liquid white. I need more liquid white. And the liquid white here is only to make the paint thinner here, so it sticks better. I'm gonna take some phthalo blue. Just a touch of phthalo blue, not much. And I'm gonna put some highlights. Remember where your light source is, and I'm gonna come in here and just touch very gently. Just go on top of this. And as you can see, this is getting darker and darker as you're moving downwards because you're automatically picking up the dark color, and also your brush is losing paint, so just do the same thing all over them. But be very gentle, very gentle. Some more paint. Let's do the big one now. Bend the bristles, it's very important. Okay. And I'm gonna go to my round brush, take more liquid white, and I'm gonna paint the foliage that we have left here. So let's come here. Always remember to start with the ones that are in the back and move forward then. Okay, some more Taylor blue. I'm gonna take some more liquid white. I want my paint to stick easier, so let's just touch here. There's a nice, cool colored bush here. Another one back here. And you can have as many or as few as you want, so just remember to gently touch the brush here. And now these ones are just separating the layers that we have built, so it pushes this path back. So I'm gonna play through my colors, and by the time we're automatically picking up a little bit of the purple color here, there are lots of variations. Just leave some dark areas in between them. Okay. And let's scratch some sticks and twigs, mainly in the dark areas. This is gonna add a lot of detail. We'll let the white of the canvas show through. And what's also very nice to do is come here to these evergreens, which are very close to us, so we can see a lot of detail, and you can just take the point of your knife and just scratch in some nice limbs that are hanging there. Just take the point of your knife. You could also use the liner brush if you wanted, but I think this works better and much easier. And that easily we have finished painting. This is one of my favorite paintings and it's my own inspiration. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing your work. Please leave me a message or something to know how you're doing and that you're enjoying my show. So until next time, I'd like to wish you happy painting, take care of yourselves, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.